Hi, my name is Remy D'Angelo, and today I'd like to introduce to you the EVAC project. Right next to me, I have SOER the robot, and SOER stands for State of Emergency Robot. The purpose of SOER is to be equipped with all of the technology necessary to assist any school during an emergency situation. Now, here are some examples of emergency situations this robot would be used for: fires, tornadoes, hostage situations, earthquakes, etc. And before I get into the components of the robot, I would like to give you an example of what the robot would do during a specific situation. During a tornado, it would be deployed by an administrator at your school. Then the robot would be going through the school and examining the situation while it would be talking to staff and children. Also, it will explore throughout the school to make sure people are not in unauthorized areas. And it will do this by many of the components on the robot itself. Another situation would be during a fire. This robot, again, will be deployed by an administrator, and the robot will go throughout the school directing people out of the building quickly and eliminate staff members having to stay behind and check the school for any students left behind. Now I would like to explain to you some of the components on SOER the robot. To start, I'd like to talk to you about SOER's robotic head. I built SOER's robotic head for the reason to interact with people while assisting them during emergencies. If you can see here, there's an ultrasonic sensor mounted at the top. This ultrasonic sensor allows the mouth to move up and down to mimic talking. And on the back of the robotic head, there is a speaker which can be controlled by anybody, such as an administrator, on what to say during the situation at hand. Now I'm going to talk about SOER's robotic arms. SOER has two arms, but the right robotic arm has an iPod Touch connected to it. This iPod Touch has the purpose of connecting to emergency services while it's going through schools during different situations, such as tornadoes and fires. Now, on the robotic arm, there's a light sensor. This light sensor can detect any virtual light in the school, such as a fire, so it can detect the color red. Once it detects that color, the robotic arm will be able to move and say, if the fire department is connected to the iPod Touch, it will be able to examine the area of the situation. The next robotic arm I'd like to talk to you about is SOER's left arm. SOER's left arm has the ability to go back and forth as well as up and down with its claws. Now, this robotic arm can hold almost anything to help during an emergency situation throughout the school, such as tools, equipment, and anything in that circumstance. Now, these robotic arms are controlled through an EV3 brick, and these arms can either be controlled through an autonomous program or through an iPhone wirelessly. The component on SOER the robot is SOER's lights. SOER has two lights mounted to it, one which can move in any direction and one that's just mounted to the bottom. Now, the one that can move in any direction, as you can see here, can move to the back of the robot, the front of the robot, or even the side of the robot. And it does have three different settings on it, as you can see. It has a flashlight, a lantern, and an emergency flashing setting. Now, the light on the bottom of the robot is mounted so it can project outward with the metal plate around it. Now, these robotic lights attached to SOER allow light to be projected so people can see during a power outage or any situation where it is needed. As you can see here on SOER, there will be other components to the robot which will be put on during some of my presentations at select locations. These are not limited to the iPad, which will be mounted right here. Now, the iPad's purpose is to have information on it regarding all the students and staff in the school. So if you've ever been in the situation where you would have to evacuate, releasing students would be at ease, where you would find their information and you would be able to let them go instantly instead of digging through all of your files. Another component on the robot which will be mounted right here is an emergency radio. The emergency radio will be able to contact the weather station and different things in that mean which will notify people what is going on. Another component which will be on SOER the robot is in this capsule right here. As you can see, it can lift up, and in the capsule will hold a flash drive which an administrator, usually the head principal, can take with him during an emergency. And in the flash drive itself, it will have information about the school, such as the student body amount or evacuation plans, and anything regarding school information. Now, on the robot, another component which will be mounted here is a first aid kit. This first aid kit will be able to aid and assist a person if they ever get a minor injury.